Hello and welcome to the Confident Musicianing Podcast. My name is Eleanor and I am a British American oboist studying at the Royal Conservatoire of Scotland, literally my dream school. And it took me a long way to get there. I applied and auditioned for 12 schools in 3 different countries. It was a lot of hard work, but oh my gosh, so worth it. I want you to have the confidence to work hard in achieving your goals. So come with me as we go on this journey together. So sit down, pull up a chair, take a seat, or if you're on the go, welcome to the Confident Musicianing Podcast. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Confident Musicianing Podcast. I am so thankful that you are here and that we are spending this time together today. Today is a bit of a well, for me, cloudy day. It's a bit of a, I don't know, it's not windy, but it's like just cloudy. And so I'm feeling extra cozy today. I'm feeling extra cozy. I'm here, I'm on a couch. The podcast couch, and I am recording this episode and I'm feeling extra cozy. So I hope that wherever you are in the world, whether it's on some sort of public transportation, maybe you're going to school or a job, or maybe you're making food or whatever you're doing, going for a walk, or maybe also just sitting down, I hope that we can spend the next few minutes or however long this is to just really deep dive into this topic and find something valuable from it. So today we are going to be talking about things I don't do before an audition, and that kind of sounds a bit negative. That's a bit of a negative thing, like things I don't do these things, but I think it's important to maybe just touch on that and be like, you know, there are things that I always do before an audition, but there are also things that I try to avoid doing and that I have done in the past and that haven't served me. And so I thought this would probably be of some value to you. So I actually just did an audition like last Sunday. I took the train to Edinburgh. And it was so much fun. I've never been to Edinburgh before, and I took the train and I went to Edinburgh, and it was so amazing. And then so it was funny because like I took the train to Edinburgh, right? And I go to the city centre of Edinburgh, and the audition's actually not in the city centre. I just wanted to see the city centre. So then I took another train to the audition. And then I walked 1.5 miles to the audition, and as I was walking said 1.5 miles, I was like, hold on, I'm supposed to play oboe now. I've just traveled and walked 1.5 miles and now I'm supposed to play oboe. And thankfully it was fine, it wasn't bad. Like I got there, I had enough time to kind of calm down, warm up, you know, and play the oboe. But it was like a bit like nerve-wracking because I was like, I didn't think this through. So maybe that's something to consider. That's not one of the things in the list, but maybe that's one thing. Anyway, let's dive in to 4 things. I have 4 things that I don't do before an audition. The first thing is compare myself to others in the room. Now this, you might be saying, Eleanor, that's really easy to say. That is really easy to say, and you're just saying it, and it's harder to do. And let me tell you, I get that. I understand. Yes, I understand. There are different ways of trying not to compare yourself, and especially like it's hard to like try to focus on not doing something because then that's kind of what you're thinking about. But I remember when I was auditioning for music school, and I was auditioning for the Peabody Institute of Music, and I got there, I got to the audition room, or the warm-up room, I was feeling really good, I was feeling really confident, I had a good night's sleep, I had a good breakfast, I was ready to go, I felt good. And I walked up to the audition room, and I was stood outside the hallway, and I was listening. I could hear the girl before me her audition, and at that moment, all of that confidence, all of that good feeling of like, I can do this, just left me. It just went whoosh away. And I just was stood there like, hang on, hold on, wait. I need that confidence to do well in this audition. Like, what's happening? It's all gone. And all I could do was just sit there and compare myself. So I have felt that. I know what it feels like to compare yourself. I still struggle to compare myself. I oftentimes, because we have performance class at school, and I've recently changed from the American style of oboe playing to the European style. So I'm rewiring the way I play oboe, and that means that I'm making a lot of mistakes, and it's hard not to compare myself sometimes to the other oboists in the room because they are all phenomenal, and sometimes I struggle with that. So yeah, comparison is I know comparison. But I think ways to not compare myself, and this is something that I have talked about in especially the second episode of the podcast, if we really want to scroll back, but I can link it in the show notes so you don't have to scroll. But that was about the Peabody story, and that audition I had where I was stood outside the audition room, and all of a sudden all my confidence left me. I did two things that really changed my perspective and really helped me regain that confidence and helped me to stop comparing myself in that moment. And that is in that episode. But to just kind of go over it, number one, I instead of listening to her with comparison, I listened to her with admiration. And that was just a mindset shift that I did, and it was really quick, and I kind of just, without realizing it, I just went for it and did it. Because I couldn't not hear her. That's something I tried at first. At first I tried to like literally not listen, and it was like, hold on, this is dumb. I can't not listen. It's, my ears are working right now, but so instead I listened, and I picked out the things that were good about her playing and kind of reframed them to admiration. So instead of saying, oh my gosh, her articulation is so good, and I feel like my articulation isn't as good, and is my articulation gonna be good, I changed it to, oh my gosh, her articulation is so good. I love how direct it is and how precise it is, and I can't wait to one day sound like that. Or it's just things like that. That is a different shift, and it really helped me. The second thing I did was compliment her, and that was really good. I complimented her, and that was something that really helped me, because on the inside I was still feeling like, oh, like, she's better than me and I'm nervous. And, a part of me wanted to just like not look at her and just walk to the room and blah, blah, blah. But instead I decided, even if my inside of me is feeling nervous, I want to change that through the outside. So I complimented her, and she smiled and she said thanks, and I smiled, and that made it so that when I walked into the audition room I was smiling, which made the panel smile, and it was a bit of a contagious smile, and that really helped me as well. So just kind of humanizing the person, not like humanizing them, I didn't not humanize them, but kind of just remind myself that they are someone who is probably a lovely person, and who wants to be like, who's just trying like me, and we're all in this together. And I can compliment her, and I can see the good things in her playing, and it really helped me to not only stop comparing myself but also play better, because I just listened to an oboist play very well, and I think that kind of subconsciously helped me play better. So it's all good. So I think, if you want to learn more about not comparing yourself, that episode is a good one to listen to. So that is going to be linked in the show notes. But that's the first thing. And you need practice. There is practice that goes into this. You're not going to all of a sudden be like, nope, I don't compare myself. Because, everyone compares themselves. I still struggle with comparison. But that is something to remember before an audition. Like, don't compare yourself. And if you do catch yourself comparing yourself, try to change that mindset. Turn it more into admiration. Even if it's on the other end, if someone is playing worse than you, right? And you're the one and you're at a better standard and you're like, oh my gosh, even if you think, oh my gosh, that person's worse than me, I'm fine, I'll be fine, I'll do my best. I don't need to worry about that. That is also kind of yucky. That is also kind of yucky. I think, on the other side of that, just be like, this person is here. I hope they do well. I hope that, that they're working on their thing and it's great, and just kind of being encouraging, because, if that girl, when I complimented her in Peabody in that audition, if she heard me and maybe heard that I wasn't as good as her, and she kind of was like, you're not as good as me, or you're not as good as me, and kind of compared herself, then when I complimented her, that wouldn't have been as genuine, you know what I mean? And it would have still kind of been yucky. So I think it goes both ways. Okay. All right, let's move on. The next thing that I don't do before an audition is practice a ton that morning. This might be different for different instruments, but for oboe, it's a definite no. I do not practice a ton that morning. No. And one of the things, the reason why I don't do that is for stamina. I need my stamina. And I think, going into the audition, I kind of treat it a similar way as like an athlete would. When you watch the Olympics and the athletes are so focused and they're so ready, and like if they do, I don't know, a swim. I don't watch the Olympics that much, but let's say they do a swim. We're watching swimmers, and the swimmers swim across the pool 4 times. I don't know anything about swimming, but let's say they do. That is the epitome of the thing that they are focusing on that day, right? They are like, I'm going to go in, I'm going to swim across the pool 4 times, I'm going to swim as fast as I can so I can get that gold medal. And that's it. That is it for the day. And for me, it's kind of the similar idea. I'm like, okay, I'm going to go in, I'm going to play, I don't know, Schumann's Third Oboe Romance, and that's going to be the thing that I do today. And I'm not going to worry about scales, like practicing scales in the morning or something like that. Like, obviously I warm up, but I don't practice a ton that morning. In fact, I don't practice that morning. I don't. I go, and that, the day is focused on that one thing. I give it my all, and oftentimes afterwards I'm kind of tired. I'm like I'm tired. And sometimes I practice, more after an audition. I've had auditions where I felt so inspired and so excited that I go home and practice. But I think I don't practice before. Now, it could be different with different instruments, and you can talk to your teacher about that. But that's one thing that I definitely don't do. I remember one time I was in a mock audition session with with my teacher in the States and some of the other students. And there was this one student who did his mock audition, and he really struggled with it. And afterwards he was like, I shouldn't have practiced this morning because my stamina is gone, and I should have just saved it up for this mock audition. So that is something that I definitely don't do. I do not practice a ton that morning. Yeah. Okay. Number 3. This one is another one that's literally 4 words, but so hard to do. Let my anxiousness show. Whoa. Yes. I might be feeling anxious on the inside, but I consider like the audition as a performance, and not just the audition itself, but as soon as I walk in that room, walk in the building, as soon as I walk in, I am on performance mode. I am smiling. Every time I enter a room, I am smiling. I am always the person that kind of presents chill. And there's a lot of times I've gotten this compliment a lot of times, and it's shocked me. And people are like, how do you seem so confident in your auditions? And part of me is like, well, I have a podcast called the Confident Musicianing Podcast, and if you want to listen to it, there's stuff about that. But I realize it's part of the reason why is because I consider the entire audition situation a performance. So when I walk into the warm-up room, and say there are people I know in that warm-up room, and maybe there are strangers in that warm-up room, I am professional, I smile, I warm up, maybe I talk to people, but I am really focused on my my presence in the room and kind of how I present myself. I make sure that I don't look nervous. And even if I feel nervous on the inside, I make sure that I don't look nervous. And you might be saying, Eleanor, well, doesn't that make you more nervous because you're nervous about not looking nervous? And I think, sometimes I don't succeed. I don't succeed at that. I remember this audition that I just did. I walked in the room and they were like, hello, thank you for being here. And I don't remember what I said, but I know that it was like not correct. I think I said either thank you or something else. And I said it and I was like, oh, wait, hold on. And then I like said something else. And so that was a bit of a blip. And then they also said, whereabouts are you coming from? Because they heard my accent. And a lot of people get confused by my accent because there's British and American in the same accent. But I said, I took the train. So that was not the answer that they were looking for. But I was able to kind of just move on from that and be like, you know what, that's okay. So yes, I'm not always 100%, professional and not looking nervous. Obviously those two incidents probably looked a bit nervous. But I think it's helpful when I am presenting not nervous on the outside to help with my nerves on the inside. Because, it kind of shows that I don't have to be nervous. I remember in the Peabody audition, when I complimented that girl, like that, even though I was nervous on the inside, really helped me to not feel as nervous. Because when I complimented her, there was a human connection and it was like really, really special and lovely. And that made me feel less stressed. And so the thing that I did on the outside, my actions, how, like I complimented her, that was something I decided to do. It helped me feel better on the inside. And so I think that's a different, or that's kind of a similar idea as well with not letting my anxiousness show. Because if I don't let my anxiousness show, it might help me to not feel as anxious because I present myself more confident and I'm excited about that. And I want to also preface by, when I say that, I'm not pushing it down. I'm not denying it. I'm not being like, oh my gosh, no, I'm not nervous. I've never been nervous in my entire life. If someone's like, are you nervous? I'll say a bit, a little bit. Sometimes I'll walk up to people and be like, are you nervous? Or are you excited? I'm not being like, oh, me? No, never. I've never been nervous. What are you talking about? But what I am is I make sure that I smile in rooms. I greet people. I am kind of starting my performance as soon as I enter the building, and that helps with my anxiousness. So I just want to be clear. I'm not completely like pretending that I'm not anxious or not nervous, because oftentimes I am, but I am creating like more of a excited atmosphere in my mind, and presenting that and sharing that, and that really helps on the inside. All right, I hope that makes sense. The last thing is kind of similar. One thing that I don't do before an audition is shy away from people. Now, I'm not saying I go up to every single person and introduce myself and blah, blah, blah. But I don't shy away. I'm not like hidden in the corner. I take up space, and I like, I'm fine to do that, and that's something that I think is important to remember. I remember in this audition in Edinburgh, there was this other oboist who was having some trouble with his water in the keys. And so he asked me if I had some paper to get it out with. And I was like, let me see. And I looked and I was like, yes, I do. And I gave it to him, and he was trying to get it, like, rip some off. And he couldn't do it. And he was like, oh my gosh, I can't do it. And I was like, no worries. I'll help you and it'll be great. And I did it. And then I was just very kind of happy to help, and I think just having that positive attitude really helps with the audition, because then when I go in the audition, I am leaving a room of friends. You know what I mean? Like, I'm maybe not friends, but I'm leaving a room of people who have a positive environment and a friendly environment. I think that that's really helpful when going into the audition as well, because then when you come back, they're like, how was it? And it's like really lovely and it's just lovely. Now, obviously, there might be a few people who don't want to interact with you, and maybe you don't want to interact with people, and that's fine too. But I think it's also an idea of, like, this is about not necessarily shying away, making yourself small, going into a corner, etc. That's something that I try not to do at an audition. So that is kind of the things that I don't do before an audition. Let's do a quick recap. So the first thing, compare myself to others in the room. Instead, I try to listen to people with admiration and inspiration and just kind of that positive vibe. The second thing is practice a ton that morning, or like practice at all that morning. Now, this might be specific to oboists, but my stamina needs me to not do that. The next thing is let my anxiousness show. Rather than that, I consider my performance to start as soon as I get in that room, as soon as I get in the building, as soon as I start warming up. And I smile to everyone and just like feel calm. And it comes with practice. Oh my gosh, it comes with practice. Some auditions I'm not calm at all and it doesn't work out, but I try my best. And the last thing is shy away from people. I always try to be open and friendly to people because we're all in this together. All right? Yeah. One thing that is important with auditioning is practicing, right? And with our practice, it is helpful for us to have kind of a community of other musicians to boost us up. You know what I mean? Like, just boost us up. And I've decided that I am creating a community just for that. The community is called the Confident Musicianing Membership Community, and this is a group of friendly, encouraging musicians to lift you up in your everyday practice and auditions and all of these things. In this membership, you get access to so many things, including practice with me videos where we practice together in real time, insights into what I am doing as a conservatoire musician, music student, as well as like things that I genuinely want to share with you about my journey as a musician. There's Q&A sessions, live streams. What else? There's like so much stuff. How-to videos, we're doing that as well. And so all of these things are part of the Confident Musicianing membership community. If that sounds like something that you want to be a part of, then please do click the link in the show notes, and I can't wait to see you there. All right, that is about it for this episode. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I feel so totally honored that you have been here, and I am looking forward to seeing you in the next episode. Don't forget all of the links are in the show notes, including the blog post that goes with this episode, and also the links for that podcast episode that I was telling you about the Peabody story, and the link for the Confident Musicianing membership community. All right, I hope to see you in the next episode, and yeah, I'll see you then. Take care. Bye bye.